Tonight on CTV News, the wait continues for Southern Response policyholders seeking legal action against the insurer. The wizard conjures up more magic and fast-tracks his citizenship, and it's big leaps for these young ballet dancers being accepted into top international schools. Kia ora, good evening. Close to 50 Southern Response policyholders will have another wait before they know whether they can take action against the government-owned insurer. After a hearing lasting 6 hours today, Justin Cameron Manor reserved his decision. Policyholders are wanting to sue Southern Response as a group, unable to afford to do it individually. They want their full entitlements for quake damage and damages for stress and costs. The lawyer acting on behalf of the disgruntled Southern Response policyholders has now taken their class action to court. 46 frustrated policyholders joined a united effort to get what they're owed through legal action, and nearly 3,000 others are still waiting for their claims to be settled. Labour's Canterbury spokesperson Megan Wood says Southern Response should be working to fix homes and not taking court action. It's been a long road for the claimants over the past 5 years, with meetings being held over the past year and a half. Earlier this year, more than 200 homeowners gathered at the Transitional Cathedral for a private meeting to consider whether to join a class action against the government-owned insurer. An Australian-owned litigation team jumped on board to fund the case, allowing claimants to undertake a no-win, no-fee measure against Southern Response. If the class action is successful in court, claimants wouldn't have to pay any damages and legal costs. It's all covered under the litigation team. But if the action is successful, claimants will pay fees of no more than 20% of the claim, with some paying a lot less. Then, in August, Grant Cameron filed proceedings in the Christchurch High Court with a smaller turnout of close to 50 taking action. Now it's a waiting game to find out what happens next to the case. Blakely Construction's been fined $45,000 for failing to properly identify and manage asbestos. The company was contracted to demolish buildings on Edgware Road in March last year, hiring a specialist contractor to remove 140 Super 6 roofing sheets containing asbestos. Some sheets were accidentally broken up, with the construction company advising workers to carry on. WorkSafe New Zealand says the work continued for more than a week. Well, restoration works continuing on the Opawa Community Church, with the roof being lifted onto the framework of the building today. Emma J. McLennan reports.
A group of onlookers braved wind and rain this morning to watch the restored roof being lifted onto the framework of the Opawa Community Church. The roof was rocking slightly in the wind as it was carefully lifted into place with a giant crane.
Well, I was a bit nervous. I had visions of it having to be lifted off again because it wasn't going to fit, but that's not happening, so no, it's good.
The roof has been sitting in the church lot for 6 months, awaiting the moment it would be placed onto the new framework. It is part of a larger restoration of the entire church building.
The roof was actually largely fine, but the rest of the building wasn't, and so we had to make a decision as to whether we started again or whether we kept part of the building, and we decided that the roof was worth keeping.
The restoration process has been tricky, with the most part of the building being completely rebuilt. This means the church has been busy raising funds.
Well, a large part of it is insurance. The Methodist Church is pretty well insured, so most of the money's covered by insurance, and we're into a bit of fundraising to make up the difference that we haven't got.
The church has been operating out of a few other local buildings while it awaits the full restoration.
During the week we've been operating over the house that you see behind us, that the roof was lifted across, and on Sundays the last 4 years we've been in the Opawa School Hall, and the year before that, the first year, we were in the Opawa Bowling Club.
While the full restoration is still a few months off, the roof being reinstalled is being taken as a symbol of hope for the congregation, much like the Knox Church site where the roof was lit for months before it was rebuilt. Emma Jane McLennan, CTV News.
The Earthquake Commission's increased funding into GeoNet, providing thousands of Kiwis with information about earthquakes and other natural disasters. EQC's had a close relationship with the service since it started 15 years ago. Now it's continuing its support for the next 5 years. The increased funding is to ensure GeoNet's upgraded to deliver the best geological hazard monitoring and research. Well, still to come here on CTV News, the Archwizard of Christchurch becomes a Kiwi, and Bridget's here with your neighbourhood news. Welcome back to CTV News. The Margaret Mayhew Playground skiing set to open next week, with a $3 million development expected to be a great pre-Christmas present for families. Chelsea Daniels reports.
The Central City's multi-million-dollar new playground, named after one of New Zealand's most famous authors, will open on Tuesday. The $3 million Margaret Mayhew Playground, framed by Manchester, Armagh and Madras streets, was designed by kids for kids. And it's got a $2 million price tag for the play equipment alone.
It's huge, with lots and lots of different activities for kids. It's one of the larger playgrounds I've seen, and I understand one of the largest in New Zealand. And it'll be a great asset for the future. The
playground is named after the late Margaret Mayhew, a well-known children's book author. It features a 4-metre wide slide, a double flying fox, a spider climbing net, water features and interactive equipment.
A lot of the playground's been designed with help of kids who of course are partly motivated by the work of those people, so that's reflected in a lot of the design.
Mr. Ombliss says the playground is an attempt to bring children and young families back into the central city.
But also an attempt to have young people actually involved in the design of the new city, if you like, and so that's been just tremendous to get a lot of their ideas brought into this.
He says after the earthquake, Sarah opened up to the public to source ideas about what they want to see in the rebuild of the city.
Sarah was part of taking up the work from the Sharon idea, taking it forward into the blueprint for the central city, and this is a part of that.
Well, one thing's for sure, everyone is looking forward to this new inner city project to be complete.
Absolutely, I'm going to have a go. It's good for kids of all ages, including this kid.
Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
Well, after more than 40 years, you can call Ian Brackenbury Channel Citizen Wizard, being officially made a Kiwi at a ceremony today. Chelsea Daniels was there.
The wizard officially became a New Zealand citizen today, 41 years after arriving in Christchurch. In a ceremony at St Margaret's College, Ian Brackenbury Channel, aka The Wizard, was awarded citizenship along with 179 other people from 35 different countries.
I feel terrific. It's the most marvellous feeling. I can't believe it. A lovely little country way on the edge of the world there. All people who know each other and get on well together. It's a pretty good feeling.
The 83-year-old was born in London, England, eventually migrating to Christchurch in 1974. In 1963, he received his double honours degree in psychology and sociology at the University of Leeds. And the wizard managed to fast-track his citizenship. He is about to complete a PhD in social science online at the University of Tasmania, but he needed citizenship to do that.
He was in touch about a week or so ago and was very keen to have his ceremony before the end of this year.
He hopes to complete his thesis at the University of Tasmania, studying online.
It all fits at this one university, which is a very nice little place, because Tasmania is just part of New Zealand, in my opinion. It's just like New Zealand.
He has allowed his driver's licence, social security ID and passport to lapse in the past in order to become a fictional character, and is officially recognised as an authentic living work of art.
I don't vote, you see. I have no social welfare number, no tax number. I've become a living work of art, so I can't have documentation to say I'm a real person, which is why the problem with the census came up. I could not fill in the census form because of this reason.
Mayor Leanne Dowsell says the wizard means a lot to Christchurch and has contributed greatly to the rebuild of a city.
It's really special. I've known Jack for many, many years, and it's just an absolute honour and a delight.
In 1982, the Christchurch City Council appointed him Wizard of Christchurch, and 8 years later, Prime Minister Mike Moore deemed him the official Wizard of New Zealand. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
It's been a big year for a Christchurch dance company who have produced 7 world-class dancers, with some of them heading across the ditch. Emma J. McLennan reports.
7 dedicated Christchurch ballet dancers have been accepted into professional dance schools in New Zealand and Australia after training full-time all year at an exclusive dance school. The high school age students have been training more than 30 hours a week to achieve their goals.
Which is a huge achievement for the kids who have worked really, really hard to achieve this all of year. It's been their focus and their passion for their whole lives. So it's quite scary going out by yourself, especially going to Australia and stuff as well. I set up private auditions for each of them individually to go over, and then we found out, some of them actually found out on the spot that they'd been accepted, and then the others found out about a month later.
It's big news for the school as well. With just over 20 students, having 7 accepted into professional schools is an unprecedented achievement.
This is massive because the industry is just so highly competitive now. To even get a job in a company is hard. At an audition for a ballet company, for one contract, you can actually have 500 dancers auditioning for that one job.
While most of the students have been dancing recreationally since around age 5, they have taken it to a new level to go professional. Each has made the decision to leave their high school and take up correspondence learning so they can focus their time and energy on dancing.
We've been working the whole year for auditions, and that was pretty intense auditioning. And then we finally got the letter to say we got in, and that was amazing.
And so I started full-time this year, really to getting ready for that audition and getting into a school like the New Zealand School of Dance, which we did.
Tegan and Callum were the only in the South Island to be accepted into the New Zealand school. The 5 others were accepted into various Australian dance schools and will be moving there next year to further their careers.
It's just amazing that you get the opportunity to go somewhere with it.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool, moving away from home and stuff, moving countries, just that next step, I guess, and yeah, it's just really exciting.
So while their peers are finishing high school, the dancers will be performing with national and international companies. Imogen McLennan, CTV News.
The Sumner Surf Lifesaving Club's opening its new building this weekend, a cause for celebration after years of operating out of containers.
It'll be home sweet home for Sumner Surf Lifesavers on Saturday when their new $2.8 million clubhouse opens.
After probably a good 5 years of being out of it and hanging around in containers and patrolling straight from the beach, it's absolutely awesome to have a base to be based out of.
And the new building is very flash with all of the facilities the club members and their guests might need.
So we've got a brand new pavilion out in the front with a big kitchen and things, which is going to be great for functions and club functions as well. In terms of lifeguarding, we've got brand new gear sheds, heaps of space for our gear, which is great, new rescue boat sheds and brand new changing rooms, which is awesome. That's something that we've really been lacking for the last few years. And then an independent patrol tower and first aid room so we can be patrolling while the function's on.
The club's plan to keep up with running costs by hosting functions is working, with a wedding and a couple Christmas parties already booked. It also realises that having a good new clubhouse will help attract new members.
I think the biggest thing was it sort of hurt the club culture a little bit. It wasn't, as fun to come and hang out at the beach and at the club and just be a member. So that'll be something that we're really looking forward to with the new club, is having a base for people to just come and be here for the weekend. So that really helps with retention of membership and gaining new members, which is always useful. The more lifeguards we have, the safer the beach is.
Ultimately, it's all about keeping people safe on the beach. And with the best equipment to do so, it's looking like a good summer ahead.
Can't wait until the summer really rolls around, some nice warm days, some good surf, it'll be awesome.
And with the weekday patrol starting Monday, the new clubhouse has come just in time. Imogen McLennan, CTV News.
Now let's cross to Bridget Rutherford in the newsroom with what's happening in your neighbourhood.
There's been an exciting sight for birdwatchers at Charlesworth Wetland Reserve. The critically endangered black-billed gulls have been spotted mating and nesting there again. It's been 5 years since the birds last bred at the reserve as a result of the earthquakes. The Avon Heathcote Estuary Ihutai Trust regravelled the islands on the reserve with the help of the Student Army, which may have been the catalyst for them to return. 2 Rangiora women have been honoured for their service with Grey Power North Canterbury. Josephine Setz and Heather Bainan received honorary memberships at a ceremony at the Rangiora Returned Services Association last week. Grey Power North Canterbury President Miles Jackson says volunteers are very important in communities, and Setz and Bainan served over and above what's been asked of them. A Littleton group is on a mission to protect marine life from plastic bags. The group, Plastic Shopping Bag Free Littleton, aims to sell reusable shopping bags and let people know of the danger of plastic bags getting into marine life's habitat. It has campaigned at the Littleton Farmers Market so far. Although the campaign is light, humorous and colourful, the group says the issue is deadly serious. It says marine life is suffering from the accidental ingestion of plastic in the ocean. And Simon Thomas has been appointed as the new principal for Parkview Primary School. Thomas will begin in his new role on April 16th, following the end of Term 1. He's currently the acting principal at Summerfield School and has previously been deputy principal at Shirley Intermediate. Board of Trustees Chairman Tony Herring says the board is excited and confident that he'll be able to build on the work that its current principal, Les Gray, has achieved over the past 12 years. From the newsroom, I'm Bridget Rutherford.
Thanks for that, Bridget. We're still to come here on CTV News, local sport and the region's weather forecast. Welcome back to CTV News. Now here's Gordon Finlater with the latest in local sport.
Well, starting with rugby tonight, and Mike Eagle was one of the winners at the New Zealand Rugby Awards, taking home the Steinlager Salva Award for his contributions to rugby as an ambassador. Jamie Kay caught up with the former New Zealand Rugby Union chairman.
Mike Eagle was not initially due to attend the awards. However, he was convinced by his wife Frances after she was given word he would be receiving the award. Mike said he had no idea he would be recognised, but was suspicious moments before the award.
Television cameras started to hover around, so I thought Steve Chu, who never usually does any presentations at those awards, and then with the cameras, I thought, yeah, there's something silly happening here. So, yeah, I've got a fair idea then.
Mike began his administration career in Christchurch. A highlight was turning around the fortunes of the Crusaders after the team finished their first season dead last.
We thought that wasn't great, and we that's not where we wanted to be. So we locked ourselves away for a couple of days and filled the gaps, worked out what we wanted and what personnel we wanted, what players we wanted, and we did that. And as I say, the rest. Next year we finished 7th, and then James Kerr managed to score a try in Auckland 98, and we started the three-peat. So, and the rest of it, I think it's all gone pretty well. But, it was always going to be a challenge to moving from the amateur to the professional thing, but I think, Crusaders did it pretty well. And we probably set the benchmark for the rest of the teams.
A big challenge Mike believes currently facing Canterbury Rugby and the Crusaders moving forward is the need for a better stadium to replace the current AMI stadium after it was constructed to be only a temporary fix after the earthquakes.
The fact of Super Rugby is you don't make a lot of money out of that unless you get into the semis and finals. The worry for me is that if we haven't had a semi or a final at that stadium, and if we do, then the danger is then, because it's all about making some dollars, so that the union may look at taking it somewhere else, which I'm sure would go down very sadly with a lot of Canterburyans. But that's what they'd have to look at. But at the moment it's great, but in time we definitely need a stadium here.
While no longer involved as an administrator, Mike said he will still be supporting the Red and Blacks, but is looking forward to taking in the games as purely a spectator. Jamie Kay, CTV Sport.
And finally tonight to cricket, and Canterbury are back in action tomorrow, taking on Central Districts in a 4-day Plunket Shield match. The team are looking forward to getting back into a competition that they've had success in the past 2 summers after narrowly missing out in last weekend's 2020 final series in New Plymouth.
It's pretty fine margins, and when that rain came down, if they were 3 or 4 runs less on the board, or we'd taken maybe one more wicket, we probably would have been the ones that would have come out on top and made it to the final. So yeah, it's like I said, fine margins in T20. 4-day cricket, generally the best team over 4 days will get the win, so we're hoping to put in a good performance this week.
Look like tomorrow's match will be played at Rangiora's Main Power Oval, a favourite venue for captain Peter Fulton.
I guess it's effectively sort of my home ground, really. Played a lot of cricket here for Canterbury country, and probably the majority of my Canterbury career.
played out here as well. So yeah, I always enjoy coming out here. It's always a pretty good cricket wicket. Reasonably batsman friendly if you can sort of get through the first half a day or so. So yeah, looking forward to it.
And tomorrow morning's toss could prove pivotal, with the Canterbury pace attack hoping to get as much out of the wicket while they can.
It generally does a bit, like I say, on the first sort of day. There'll be a bit in it for the seam bowlers, and then it does traditionally get a little bit flatter. So yeah, we've got to make sure we bat well in that first innings, and nice and I guess disciplined with the ball, because sometimes taking 20 wickets can be tricky.
Well, you're up to date with the latest in local sport. I'm Gordon Findlater for CTV Sport.
Thanks so much for that, Gordon. Now, Mercy's not feeling too good today, so I'm filling in. Here's your region's weather forecast. Here we go. Starting with today's highs in South Canterbury, 15 degrees were shared by Temuka, Geraldine and Waimate. Timaru, 14 degrees for you. Central Canterbury, 15 degrees for Christchurch. That was also shared with Leeston, Akaroa and Darfield. And 16 degrees there for Methven, 14 for Ashburton. North Canterbury, 15 degrees for many places here today, but 16 on some coastal areas for Amberley and Rangiora. Kaikoura, 15 degrees for you. And in the Alpine region, 14 degrees was shared by Lake Tekapo and Mount Cook. To the major centres for tomorrow now, starting with Timaru, 15 degrees will be your high with southerly winds and isolated showers throughout the day. They could get heavy as well with some hail. Ashburton, similar picture for you as well. 15 will be your high with southerly winds and isolated showers. Expect some showers in the south for mid-afternoon and further in the evening. Christchurch, similar for you as well. 6 degrees to start your day. 15 degrees will be your high and southerly winds. Kaikoura, more showers for you. You can expect hail as well, and much cooler on 13 degrees. Well, let's take a look at tomorrow's temperatures now for the rest of the region. South Canterbury, southerly winds for most, 16s and 17s there. Central Canterbury, similar picture for you as well, 15 degrees for everyone here and southerly winds, isolated showers as well. In North Canterbury, showers for everyone here, getting worse further up north, 13 degrees for Hamner Springs and 15 for Rangiora there. Alpine region, 11 degrees for Arthur's Pass. There we go. All right, the upcoming days now for the major centres, starting with Friday. Mostly, it's getting finer actually, mostly fine with light winds and afternoon breezes, early 20s, late teens. Flipping over to Saturday, some cloudy skies expected for Saturday. Much warmer as well with those northeasterly winds, 22 degrees for Ashburton and 21 for Christchurch and Timaru. And for the rest of the region, some cloudy patches for coastal areas with those northeasterly winds and some sunshine in not coastal areas, inland areas. And if you flip to Saturday, it looks exactly the same. That's because it is a similar picture as well as Friday with those northeasterly winds and clouds on coastal areas. Not bad at all. Mercy, hopefully you get better soon. And that is CTV News for tonight. You can find all our bulletins on demand at ctv.co.nz. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jared McCulloch. Have a great evening.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.